Namaste all, welcome to Indic Talks. This is our fourth session of the course on Indian philosophy. We completed Nyaya and Vaisheshika philosophies yesterday, and today we'll be learning about Yoga, Sankhya, Mimansa and Vedanta philosophies. So without wasting any time, we should welcome Swami Vedatattvananda, who is our instructor for the course. Welcome Swamiji, thank you for joining us.
Om Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Welcome to all. This is our fourth and the last session about the introduction to Indian philosophies. So far, we could cover the heterodox systems, and in the six orthodox systems, Nyaya and Vaisheshika are covered, and four are left out. It is important, mostly practiced. Nyaya Vaisheshika is less practiced because they lean on these systems for practice. So these systems have practical importance in the Indian society, and every stream is complete in itself, so to say. Though Sankhya and Yoga are in a way complementary to each other, however, others are not so much. But we have very less time in hand, half an hour for each. So we'll try as far as possible. So we'll begin with Yoga, then we'll go to Sankhya, then Mimansa and Vedanta. Means Yoga of Patanjali. Around 500 BC or so, Patanjali composed Yoga Sutra. However, he begins with Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Yoga Anushasana. Anushasana means representing it, sort of. That is Anushasana. That means the yoga is already there before. He himself doesn't claim that I'm giving something original here. But the way is original. The unique way of presenting the thing is original. Because this yoga system, which is presented by Patanjali, is available in details before him in some Upanishads. Even in Vedas or Upanishads and even Puranas, there are at some places traces of it, at some places details of it. Almost all the things present here and there. That also proves that the thing presented by Patanjali is not completely new. The Advaita Taraka Upanishad, Amrita Nada Upanishad, Amrita Bindu Upanishad, Nada Bindu Upanishad. There are around 21 Upanishads which deal with exclusively this yoga system. Even Yagyavalkya, there is one Yagyavalkya Smriti. A rishi named Yagyavalkya, he has one Smriti to his credit. He says that Hiranyagarbha is the first person to give this yoga system. Hiranyagarbha is the first god, so to say. First god who took birth. That is Hiranyagarbha in the system. That is in the Vedic system. Every system accepts Hiranyagarbha, and the firstborn Hiranyagarbha, Prathamaja, etc. is called. So he has given this knowledge of yoga. Even in Bhagavad Gita also at some places we see this pranayama and also things mentioned. Though no topic dedicated completely to, no chapter dedicated completely to yoga system, but the bits and pieces here and there, if compiled, something comes out of it. So this Patanjali's book, Yoga Sutra, has 4 chapters in it. Samadhi Pada, Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kaivalya Pada. These are 4 chapters. What is yoga? What is chitta vritti? The modifications of mind. What is samadhi, etc. described in the Samadhi Pada. The practices and the problems, etc. And the 8-fold path, Ashtanga Yoga, that is described in the 2nd chapter of Sadhana Pada. Vibhuti Pada deals with samadhi and vibhuti, the special, extraordinary gains from these practices of, those are generally sort of miracles to the science or the modern people, omniscience, omnipotence, etc., etc. So those are vibhutis. Those are also described, and there is last chapter Kaivalya Pada. It deals with some nirmana chitta and some refutes some other philosophies also. And finally, the goal of yoga, that is Kaivalya, that is given in the last chapter. Some books. This is first major source of yoga philosophy. Other books are the explanatory notes or gloss or commentaries on this particular book of Patanjali. In that, Vyasa, not the Badarayana Vyasa, who wrote Mahabharata and Brahma Sutra, etc., or Puranas. There was some other Vyasa. He has written some Bhashya, that is Vyasa Bhashya, that is the primary and very important commentary on Yoga Sutras. Vachaspati Mishra has written Tattva Vaisharadi. Vijnana Bhikshu has written Yoga Vartika. These are some important books to understand even Vyasa Bhashya. Then Raja Martanda wrote Bhoja Vritti. Bhava Ganesh wrote Vritti. Ramananda Yati wrote Maniprabha. Ananta Pandit gave Yoga Chandrika. Sadashivendra gave Yoga Ratnakar, and Nagesha Bhatta wrote 2 tikas, Lagvi and Brihati. These are more or less the important books on yoga or yoga, explanatory notes on Yoga Sutras. What is the top? Generally, in the philosophical context, we say pramana and prameya. Some such words are used, pramana and prameya. Pramana means the sources of knowledge, and prameya means the subject matter itself. So sources of knowledge are generally pratyaksha, anumana, agama, etc., etc. Out of that, when we mention the books, these come under agama, because what type of knowledge do these books give us? Do they give any knowledge which is by coming by pratyaksha? If they are telling us something coming by pratyaksha, then why the books are necessary? Everybody can get through pratyaksha. If they are telling us which is known, which can be known through anumana, then books are useless. What are they doing? So books are telling us which is not possible to get by pratyaksha and anumana. That's how the books become important. And these books then come under agama pramana. So that's how these narration of books or introduction to books is actually what pramana is there for this particular philosophy. Now comes what prameya. Prameya is the subject matter which is presented by the system. Sutra is a very small sentence pregnant with so many ideas, difficult to understand also, and no repetition, even a single letter will not be unnecessarily used in that, etc., etc. That is sutra. And if we see Yoga Sutra, the three sutras are very important, and entire yoga is the or entire theory is the expansion of these three sutras. So first sutra is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Second one is tada drashtuhu swarupe vasthanam. Third one is vritti sarupyam itaratra. What is yoga? First of all, because it is yoga anuशासनम. So what is yoga? Please tell. So the first sutra begins with yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So here the word yoga is defined as chitta vritti nirodha. So there we have three words: chitta, vritti, and nirodha. So naturally, further topics deal with all this. What is chitta, what is it, vritti, and how to do the nirodha. So here chitta is mind stuff, so to say, in general. Chitta has technical meaning also, and technical limited meaning in some context, and vast meaning covering mind and intelligence and the faculty which stores and retrieves the ideas from inside and gives us remembrance. That is one faculty. And fourth faculty is I am, the sense that I am, and I know or I have, etc. This particular ego. Out of that, chitta is generally used to store and retrieve and give memory. So in that limited context also chitta is used. But here chitta means mind, that particular chitta as such, the intelligence or the faculty to settle any decision, and the ego, ahankara. All these things taken together is chitta here in this particular context. Vritti is modification or certain shape. If we put water in a bucket, water takes the shape of bucket. Any pot, then water changes its shape and takes that particular shape where it is put. So chitta, when we know something, so as yesterday I was telling, external objects are there, senses come in contact or some relation with the object, then that thing has to come in contact with the mind, or that is chitta. And there should be someone who knows all these things behind, that is the Atma or Jivatma. When all four get combined, the knowledge dawns. Here in this case, this chitta or the mind, what happens is when the signal is presented by the sense organs to the mind, that mind takes some shape, and there is reflection of the self on that mind. When that shape plus reflection comes together, there is knowledge. If the reflection is not there, any modification of mind, any shape of mind will not come to know what is there. So the signal is presented from the external systems, and the power to know is presented from the Atma side, and both the things come at the mind level, chitta level, and that chitta having certain shape gives us, tells us this is this. So this particular shape of chitta, at every signal it has to take some shape, and that particular shape or size, or that is the modification, that is called as vritti. So this is the chitta and its vritti. Aim of yoga, or what exactly yoga is, complete stoppage of vrittis. Like if there is a lake, maybe some water or drops are falling in it, or by air or by some external disturbances, there are waves on a lake. However, if all the disturbances are stopped, the lake will be completely without any wave. So no waves, zero waves. That wave is sort of modification, vritti. Likewise, this chitta is also like lake. It has so many modifications because of the sense organs presenting their subject matters to the chitta, and it undergoes modifications. So the aim is to stop all modification, no modification at all. So this particular thing is nirodha, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. When that has happened, this is yoga. When all the modifications of the mind cease to exist, that is yoga. This word yoga is technically this thing. Asanam and pranayama, etc., are the means, helpful accessories to attain this particular stage. They are not yoga. Yogasanas are asanas helpful to attain this yoga, that is yogasana. So generally yoga word is widely misinterpreted, etc., here and there. But Patanjali, in the very opening sentence, clarifies this thing: yoga chittavritti nirodha. Now, what is the use of it? Why should I go for chittavritti nirodha? Let the things come. I like to know, and I'm happy with it, or I may not be happy with it, but why should I stop it? So he says, tada drashtuhu swarupe vasthanam. In that case, the seer, drashta, is the conscious principle behind. He, in that case, is in his own nature. But then what happens otherwise? Let the waves be there, let the modifications, vrittis be there. What is wrong with it? The third sutra tells it. If you do not separate yourself from the vrittis, then what happens is vritti sarupyam itaratra. Then somehow that there is some modification. This atma, or that drashta, thinks itself to be of the nature of vritti. There is this confusion. I am this body, I am mind, I am happy, I am fat, I am lean, thin, happy, and so many things. My organs are weak or powerful. So all these things come, and I start thinking I am this, whereas it is not the case. These things, all these things pertain to the objective world, body, etc. But due to some mistake, the Atma and this Chitta has combined, and this particular sense dawns, and it is beginningless. It has no beginning. If beginning is accepted, the difficulty is that when did it start? So some date. Okay. So you may try very hard and get rid of this particular union, but then at some other date it may begin again, because it began someday, and before that this Atma was free. then it came into bondage. Now you try very hard and come out of the bondage, but what is the guarantee that it will not be again in the bondage? So the proposition here is, this particular bondage or this confusion is without beginning. It has not begun at some day. It is not that we do not know when did it begin. Without beginning may have another connotation. We are unable to tell when did it begin. No, it is not that we do not know when did it begin. We know that it did not begin at some point. So that is the beginninglessness. That's why the yoga is necessary. The stoppage of vrittis is necessary. When that is stopped, the Atma will know itself that I am not all these things now which we generally assume. So tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. At that time, the drashta, the Atma, the knower, will be in its own nature, separated from the what is called as the objective world, as we may say prakriti in one word, prakriti. So prakriti and purusha getting separated. So that is why we have to practice yoga, or we have to practice in such a way that we attain yoga. Yoga is not practice. Practices are given to attain the state of yoga. So the further discussion is about the practices. Theory is over here, so to say. The important part is this. Further discussion is about the aid to attain this particular nirodha sthiti, the status of completely absence of any kind of modification of chitta. So that is yoga. So these three sutras very well clarify what yoga is, why is it necessary, and if not, then what are the difficulties. So tada vritti sarupyam itaratra. Otherwise, this drashta confuses itself with the vritti and extends its transmigratory existence just because of confusion. And in how many lives it has done, it is endless. We do not know, because the confusion is without beginning. So naturally, many lives have gone, and in no life we have attempted nicely. Had we attempted it properly, this we would not have been here and discussing. So we all the while we have engaged ourselves in the world. We did not sincerely solve the problem. So at least once try it and solve it. That is very important. And this particular sense that we did not solve the problem at any time, we may have attempted little bit here and there, but not to the ultimate conclusion. So at least once one must try. We have all the lives together we have given for the worldliness, so to say. So this is the appeal, and this particular appeal, if it is felt very important to someone, then he will practice the yoga with intensity. If not, then lukewarm response, or just an intellectual consent. Okay, very nice system. I have heard of it. Okay, I know of it little bit, etc. So that is how the response will be. Now this chitta, further, now we go to the details, how the things come up. Chitta. Now, since the chitta vritti nirodha, chitta is to be described. What is the chitta, or what are the states of chitta, or the qualities of chitta, so to say, and which one is good for yoga, which one is not good for yoga, and what should be the practices undertaken at what level and in which sequence. So generally, three types of chitta is described. One is prakhyashila, second is pravrittishila, and third is sthitishila. Prakhya is actually knowledge, one which is more of knowledge, leaning towards more of knowledge. Second one, pravrittishila, is busy with activities, not tending to know more, but tending to do more. And third one is Sthitishila. It doesn't want to know also, doesn't want to be active. It just wants to be at rest, lazy, so to say. So knowledge, activity, and laziness. So this can be three typical categories of chitta depending on the three gunas. Gunas will come up in the Sankhya system, Sattva, Raja, and Tama. So this Prakhashila is the due to Sattva guna, more predominance of Sattva guna. The chitta which is into activity is because of the predominance of Rajoguna, and Sthitishila is because of the predominance of Tamoguna. When how do we know what kind of chitta I have? So interest for knowledge, peacefulness, prasannata, enthusiasm, forgiveness, daya, kshama, uh, forbearance. Let us forbear it, sort of. Tenacity. When there is resolve, there is tenacity in it. So these are some of the uh, pointers by which we can come to know what kind of chitta we have. Pravrittishila is more into activity. Let us do this, do that, etc., etc. And more of sorrows, pain, greed, hatred, avarice, all such things come with Rajaguna. What we call burning because somebody has gone ahead, so there is a sense of burning in me. So that also is jealousy, sir. Yeah, jealousy, irsha. That is also important part of this Rajoguna, this Pravrittishila Chitta. Then comes Sthitishila Chitta, which it generally wants to sleep, go for some addiction, and all such things. Generally, it can be many things can be associated with it. So that is Sthitishila Chitta. One can, these are though three main categories, but it is not watertight compartment. We can have graded, like everything will have 10, 15, 20 grades like with every degree. So though we measure temperature from 0 degree to 100 degree, etc., but it's not that temperature can be either 1 degree or 2 degree or say 3 degree. It can be, there can be numerous small divisions. Likewise, three main categories are given. Five typical bhumika or status of chitta are given. These are typical divisions, but these are very important. Those are Kshipta, Mudha, Vikshipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. Kshipta is actually when the chitta is having Rajoguna and Tamoguna in equal predominance, and Sattoguna is subjugated. So that is Mudha Chitta, and generally, Kshipta Chitta. That is generally attracted towards the seen and unseen effects here and there. Seen effects means I do this karma, so I get this result. This is very easy. Anybody, most of the people busy with those who believe in the scriptures, religion, etc. There is heaven, there is hell, there is this and that. So I should do this karma so that I will go to this place and that place. I will have enjoyment. So this particular chitta is busy with all those things of the world, attractive, and things of other world. Those are also sort of enhanced state of the sense enjoyment only. So when that chitta is attracted towards that, that is Kshipta Chitta, and going after many things. Then there is Mudha Chitta. It has Tamoguna in predominance, and that particular chitta or the person tends to do wrong things. Like he will be busy with things which are called generally adharma or prohibited acts. will not tend to know more, but will may engage in such acts which are actually uh, not as, like, suppose one should not go near to a person who has corona. So science tells us, even some he knows or somebody profits, or he won't care. The person may go there. The mind itself will not accept the importance of the uh, prescriptions and prohibitions. उससे क्या होता है, वो तो उधर तो नहीं हुआ sort of. So no importance will be paid to that is the mood chitta. Though the things are um, said and they have their importance, this particular mind doesn't pay attention or doesn't understand the importance of those things. That is, so it deals with more of ajnana. It lacks vairagya. Vairagya is dispassion for the sense enjoyment. So it will be very much into sense enjoyments. And because of all such behavior, it will not be having much of wealth and all such things. So these are some of the things of this Muda Chitta. Then comes Vikshipta. It has some predominance of Sattva-guna. It busies itself in the pursuit of knowledge and sort of subtle things like what is Prakriti, what is Buddhi, and all such things. And it feels to practice good things, prescribed things. So because of predominance of Sattva, this thing happens. At times, this particular Chitta uh, holds some topic and thinks over it for a longer duration. It has this capacity. However, the previous two, Kshipta and Muda, do not have some such capacity. So, this Kshipta and Muda has no way for yoga. In that particular situation, they cannot go for Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Vikshipta has chance. This Kshipta and Muda will have to correct themselves a lot, and then when they come to Vikshipta level, then only they can go further. However, to begin the Ashtanga Yoga, the very path of Ashtanga Yoga, Vikshipta Chitta can begin. Then there is Ekagra. Ekagra is the concentrated, the mind which is concentrated. So it is good for yoga, very right. That is the way. And then Niruddha, the Chitta which has no modifications. So last one is actually the goal. So Chitta which has all sorts of modifications, all sorts of wrong modifications, but good modifications, and then modifications as per the desire and uh, for the desired duration, that is ekagrata, and no modifications, that is niruddha. These are 5 chittas. So since it is chitta vritti nirodha, it is necessary to describe what sort of uh, what are the divisions of chitta and which one is good for is it or not. Now, how do we attain this particular nirodha, the perfectly calm status of chitta? So, abhyasa vairagyam tan nirodha. You have to practice with dispassion. Abhyasa and vairagya, two major things to be done. Abhyasa, practice, practice, and practice. And there should be dispassion. Dispassion is, or vairagya is, no attraction towards the things which are counterproductive, which are against the intentions of or the goal of yoga. So that is the thing. What are those then? Those are described into or categorized into two categories. One is the things of this world and things which are after this world. Like, yes, since this being sector of philosophy and religion, most of them accept this loka and that loka. Since we exist here in this particular sphere, naturally there can be some other sphere also possible. Swarga, etc., Pitra Loka, Deva Loka, Gandharva Loka, and all such lokas. 14 lokas are described. So all such lokas are possible, and somebody may desire to go to some such lokas, whereas all those places are also product of our karma here and are transient. They do not give permanent happiness, and the happiness there is also extension of happiness here only, nothing much. There may be a situation where you do not have any sorrow, pain, etc. There only happiness, but nonetheless that is limited and extension of this. So uh, the moment your investment to get that happiness is over, you are at loss. You have to come back and again invest, work, get punya, and go to that loka and enjoy, come back. Likewise, the thing is. So those are the such things are done so much in previous lives. So don't pay attention to that. And taking mind away from all those things is actually vairagya. Now, two major steps yoga tells us. One is there is a concept of klesha. We'll come to it. Klesha. The kleshas are like if we have an enemy and we want to kill that enemy. So first of all, try to make that enemy weak as far as possible so that it can be easily killed. So weakening and killing, these are two major steps. So those kleshas are, those are actually the cause of our transmigration. Kleshas are the things which take us to, which cause us problem. So problem as per yoga, others may think, no, it is not a problem for me. You yogis think that is a problem. I don't have a problem. So you problem according to yoga. So those kleshas are first of all to be weakened. That weakening is called as tanu karanam. Tanu means small. Tanu karanam is making them smaller and smaller or weaker and weaker. And but weakening doesn't mean that they do not have power to relapse. Even then they can relapse. So after weakening them, they should be burnt in a way. And that is done by samadhi. So the things before samadhi are that is, one is kriya yoga. What yoga prescribes is kriya yoga. Tapas, swadhyaya, ishwara pranidhana. These three things taken together is called as kriya yoga. This kriya yoga is prescribed for tanukarana, to weaken these kleshas and leading towards samadhi. But that itself will not give samadhi. It will lead towards. It will help. It will help. It's like I want to eat some food. So the road, the vehicle, and all these things can take me to a hotel. But that itself doesn't give me food. I have to go to the hotel, order, somebody will cook, and then I will get the food. So getting food is different thing, but other things may lead me near to the goal. That is the that is why it is called, this kriya yoga is helpful for samadhi bhavanartha. It is aid to samadhi and to weaken the kleshas. Now, what are those kleshas? Because that is the root cause of all the problems. Kleshas are 5: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha. Out of that, avidya is actually more or less confusion, taking things wrongly, mistake. That is the thing. What mistake? What sort of mistake can be done? The things of the world which are not permanent, we feel they are permanent. Like this earth, water, air, whatever we see around, nothing is permanent. Even then, we feel it is permanent. So that is one mistake. This body, etc., is actually all. The word is ashuchi, impure. But even then, we feel so much love of it, our body, others' body, etc. But we give it so much food, and only the impure things are put out by the body. Sweat and all the things are, and even we wash every day, even then it gets dirty. So body is so much impure, even then there is sense of this is my body, and we have ego about that, and we feel it is pure. If somebody says that you fellow unpure, impure, we may we may become unhappy, insulted, this and that. We may go and beat him. So that tells us that we feel that our body is pure. The body is impure actually in nature. It is subject to destruction, diseases, and all such things. Even then, there is consideration that it is shuchi, it is pure. Nothing in this world is actually gives happiness or is not happy. So even then, we think there is happiness and it gives happiness. So this consideration is also, that is third part. And very important thing is that which is not me, but I consider that it's that thing to be me. This body I am not this body. Even then I think I am this body. The thing which I am not, the I am not that thing. Even then I think I am that thing. This is the mistake. So these are four what you say, aspects of avidya, mistaking. And when that has happened, yesterday we have discussed this thing, because it is common to all the systems almost, that then there comes raga and dvesha, and then a person goes for actions, and then he accrues karmapala, and that karmapala forces to take next birth, and the cycle continues. So this vicious cycle goes on, and the root cause is avidya. And then there is asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, etc. These are five kleshas. Those are to be burnt out, as the seed. If it is like burnt, it can, or boiled. Burnt means it will go to ashes. If it is boiled, it cannot germinate. So power to germinate will be destroyed. That is the aim of yoga, so to say, because the problem is transmigration. Transmigration happens because of this avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. Now if these are taken or care of, they do not have any power to take me to next life. Then whatever residual effect is left, because since we are like I'm having a wheel and I am moving it, or suppose fan, I did not put it on from the switch, but if I take stick and start rotating, as long as I am putting power to it through my hand, it will keep rotating. And the moment I will take my hand away, it will not stop all of a sudden. It will go on for a while, because something is left in it. Likewise, even if these kleshas are completely undone, there will be some residual left behind that will carry on. So that is to be exhausted. For that, the solutions are provided. Now what happens is, these kleshas, this particular consideration, due to avidya, there is this asmita, I am this and that, then attachment to something, hatred of something, and then fear of death, that is abhinivesha. All these things come, and we act good or bad, and then papa, punya, etc. So this accumulation of papa and punya, vice and virtue, and that is stored somewhere in the chitta, and that particular storage is called as karmashaya, storage of karma. That is important, because entire spirituality actually deals with this. We do karma, it gives rise to some unseen effect which is stored somewhere inside, and it has the potential to cause rebirth and force us to enjoy those things. This particular problem is to be solved, and every system is solving this problem. Excepting Charvakas, all others are in a way spiritualists, and they are solving this particular problem. Even Mimansakas, though they are to be booked under materialists or not spiritualists, but some section of them at fag end, etc., they also turned towards spirituality and did not pronounce their previous considerations of materialism. So all the spiritualists, A to Z, Jaina, Bauddha, Astika, Nastika, etc., they have this particular problem some way or other, that we do good and bad karmas, they give rise to papa and punya, and that papa and punya has the force to cause rebirth. And so we have to stop karma, undo the papa and punya, you are released. That's all. And entire system is built for this, towards this end. So that's how this karma shaya comes into play. The storage, the store or the warehouse of repository of our karma. And the effects are to be enjoyed here and hereafter. What happens is, so long as these kleshas persist, this karmashaya, as if there are rains, then the dam gets water. We may open the gates, but water nonetheless comes in. So dam will have some water. So if we want to empty and dry the dam, then we have to stop the water coming from various sources and open the gates so that all the water will go out. So this dam, the storage is actually the karmashaya. And so long as there is raining, water will come to it. Likewise, so long as these avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, these 5 kleshas are there, something will come to this particular karmashaya. And it will have its effect. What will be the effect? The effect is actually the thing is karma, then it will have its storage, ashaya, then it will have vipaka, the result. What is that result? Result is birth, next birth. Then after that birth, how much life you get? Ayu. Jati is called jati, birth is jati. Then lifespan, that means death also, because lifespan is given, means if 5 or 10 years given, that means death is also booked in it. And during that span, experience of sorrow and happiness. Bhog. Bhog is actually experiencing these things. So these are the effects of these kleshas. That is how the kleshas are to be, first of all, taken care of. Second thing is the karmashaya, like though the rain stopped, but water lying there in the dam, that also should be dried. Then only the problem is solved. So two things are to be done: stopping the rain and emptying the lake. So that is how these 5 kleshas are like rain, and drying the lake is that doing away with that karmashaya. And that happens in when there is completely stoppage of the modifications of chitta. Then only that thing happens in that particular situation. That is called asampragyata samadhi also. Samadhi, the last thing is samadhi. In that particular situation only it happens. Before that it doesn't. And all the things prescribed like Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi. Samadhi is Sampragyata and Asampragyata. So this Asampragyata, last one, that is the Nirodha, that is Yoga. Asampragyata Samadhi itself is called Yoga also. So that is actually the goal. As in the schools, we say we send kids to the KG and then class 1 and all the classes, and then they go to engineering, etc. Actually, lower classes are not necessary as such, but those are training places of training, nothing more. They do not have any such importance. If somebody can directly get into engineering and start understanding the things, then what is the use of lower classes? So those are preparatory, nothing more. Likewise, this out of this Ashta Angas, all 7 Angas are actually preparatory. That is their importance. So Yama, then Niyama, Asana. Now these are to be done sequentially, one after another. Simultaneous practice up to certain level is possible. Like when I do Yama, I should not practice Niyama or no Asana or no Pranayama. No, these Out of these, first four are bit physical in nature, like yama, niyama, asana, and pranayama are external. Pratyahar actually directly taking the mind, holding the mind, bringing it from outside to inside. Dharana is placing on some object, and dhyana is extending that thing, the holding and the flow of thought, and samadhi is the sampragyata and sampragyata going deeper. So last four are mostly dealing with the concentration part. First four are dealing with various bodily functions and mental functions, this and that. Like the yama are five yamas and five niyamas. Suppose ahimsa is first yama. Ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha are the yamas. Ahimsa, not killing anything, any being, either in thought or by speech or by action. This is ahimsa. So this is to be practiced. What are the effects of, if ahimsa is really practiced? Then even the what you say, himsra, the things, the beings which are very cruel in nature, or they like tiger, etc., they also forget their cruel nature and they come to this person and they are at peace. That is this is now vibhuti. Every practice if done very nicely and to the ultimate conclusion, some such results, miraculous results will be there. So that is ahimsa. Satya is not speaking untruth. Asteya, not stealing anybody's thing. Brahmacharya, continence, protection of or celibacy. And aparigraha, not accumulating the things more than what is utmost necessary. So these are yamas. Then shaucha, purity of mind and body. Santosha, happiness or contentment. Then comes tapaha, swadhyaya, and ishwar pranidhana. These are three main aspects, because these three together are called as kriya yoga. Tapaha is the penance. One definition is to be at peace or at calm or bear the opposite things. Opposite things are at two levels, body and mind. At body level, heat and cold, etc., are at the body level. So we have to tolerate without mood of complaining. So much cold, I do not wear the sweater, etc., but I feel so much cold. So there is reaction that is not expected. No reaction is also expected. Now the things have their own limits. So much cold and so much heat. Then how can we? So those are questions there. But as far as possible is the thing. Then comes tapa is another thing is burning. Actually, tapas means burning. So the papa, etc., is to be tapak burns the papa. So those are the practices like fasting, etc., are prescribed. The details are there. Swadhyaya is the study of the books which are helpful for the yoga, and swadhyaya is also repetition of the mantra. These are the things. Repetition. The mantra is omkara. What is Ishwara is, etc., told. So those are given. So that is swadhyaya. And ishwar pranidhana. Ishwar pranidhana is whatever actions we do, offering the fruits of that karma to the Ishvara. That is Ishwar pranidhana. And meditating on the nature of Ishvara. So who is Ishvara here? That is a very important concept. Such a being which is not in the reference frame of time, beyond time, timeless. Jivas generally are in this particular, these five kleshas, but Ishvara is beyond the kleshas. He never is in the kleshas. Those five stated kleshas, he is never in the kleshas. So since he is not in the kleshas, he has no karma, he has no vipaka. So these things do not touch him. And since he is beyond time, because every person is born at some time, So anybody who is born, so who is first born, etc., will be the question. So this particular Ishvara is Guru of all because he is beyond time. So Purvesham api Guru, he is Guru of all. What is his name? His name is Pranava. Om is his name. And one should repeat that Om or Pranava and meditate on the nature of that Ishvara, the God. It is prescribed. Details are there. We are cursorily looking into it. So repetition of that mantra and thinking of the meaning of that mantra. The meaning is that Ishvara, as we say, mobile. So when I say mobile, naturally the thing comes to our mind, that particular instrument. So mobile is the word and that particular instrument is its artha, meaning. So repeat the word Om and meditate on the meaning tad japaha tadartha bhavanam, japa of that mantra and thinking of the meaning of that particular mantra is prescribed. That is Ishvara Pranidhana. These things are very helpful for the klesha tanukarana, weakening of the kleshas and finally leading us to samadhi. This is how the yoga system presents us the Ashtanga Yoga. There is samadhi of two kinds, sampragyata and asampragyata. Sampragyata is actually with the objects. It has some object in view, which is helpful. It has 4 stages. Initial stage is the gross objects are taken, mind is concentrated on them. Second stage is the subtle parts of the objects, like this particular world is made of 5 Mahabhutas. But there are subtle elements from which this world is created. Like in this science language, we can say there are electron, proton, neutrons, etc. are the subtle elements, whereas molecules and all these gross objects we see are the gross things. So thinking of the subtle elements and concentrating on them is second stage of samadhi. So first one was savitarka, the second is savichara, third is sananda. Now we have external gross objects, external subtle objects, but we have the sense organs which actually help us to know the things. So now the focus is shifted from like gross to subtle, subtle to the sense objects themselves. Oh, sorry, sense organs themselves. Then that particular samadhi becomes sananda samadhi. But external objects, so gross, then subtle, and the sense organs, nonetheless they present all the things to the intelligence. So likewise, slowly lifting the mind and focusing on the intelligence itself is sasmita samadhi. All these 4 are sampragyata, and in asampragyata no such external object is necessary. The moment there is some external object or any object means there will be some modification of mind, because object to be thought of only one for a longer duration. Even then, one modification we have to keep constant. So long as there is object, there is modification, and yoga is complete destruction of every kind of modification. No modification. Naturally, all the objects are to be given up, and when all the objects are to be given up, no modification remains. That is asampragyata samadhi. And during that particular samadhi, the kleshas are in a way burnt. They lose their power of giving their so-called effects. They will lose that power forever. And that is how that by this particular practice, when those kleshas are in a way burnt like boiled seeds, they will never produce future results, their so-called effects. So this solution is permanent solution. As we began with darshanas, the solution should be perfect Ramban, and it should give the effect which is permanent. There should not be repetition, like I am hungry, I took food, and again I am hungry, I have to take food. So that is not a permanent, taking food is not a permanent solution. So likewise here, this particular solution is a permanent solution. So that is presented by the yoga system. So this is how more or less yoga, final stage is Kaivalya, where Kaivalya is at the last stages when the Jiva, through discrimination and all things, comes to know that it is separate, it is away from the Prakriti. There was initial confusion, but he decouples itself, so to say, from the Prakriti. So this particular body-mind complex, subtle or gross, was there because of him or for him. When he has separated, decoupled himself, so these things go to their basic elements. As if I take something, a book, what are the basic elements? Electrons, protons, neutrons, if those are accepted by people. So they will go to their final constituent parts. Likewise, the system which became a concrete, the body, mind, etc. for me, when I have decoupled, these things go back to their rudimentary or basic parts. That is called as pratiprasava of all these things. And a person riding a chariot, when he is no more riding, the chariot goes to its basic elements. So that is how the Kaivalya means to be alone, loneliness, complete aloneness, aloofness. That is the thing. Jivas are many here. Even in while in bondage or at the liberated stage also, jivas are many. In real nature, they are not actually coupled with, actually they do not get joined with anything. There is no welding as such actual, but that is wrong conception only. That much is the thing. So jiva is nirlepa and asanga, and it is conscious. That is very important. And it is Vibhu also. Yesterday we dealt with Vibhu. It is pervasive, all pervasive. So every jiva is asanga, nirlepa, Vibhu, and Chetana, and eternal. It's not that like the things of the world are transient. They come into existence and they have their destruction. But this jiva has no coming into existence nor has any destruction. So it is nitya. So these are the main characteristics of jiva. That is how the jiva is considered. So yoga accepts Ishvara, yoga accepts multitude of jivas, and these are more or less the practices prescribed by the yoga system. So with this sum of the yoga system, we'll take up Sankhya, because we have to deal 3 even now. Sankhyas. We have to take Sankhya. Sankhya comes from the word Sankhya. Sankhya has 2 meanings: counting and knowledge. Counting of what? They are very much into counting of the basic elements or things of the world, right from the rudimentary or the as Big Bang theory, from where it Big Bang happened. So the basic, and then the evolution of it, whatever. So they keep on counting. So they do counting, ganana. So that is called by in numbers. That's why they are called. They go for Sankhya. That's why they are called Sankhya. That is one way of saying. That is not actually the major opinion of it. Kya is actually this. There is one dhatu kya, which means knowledge. Khyana is Sankhyana is knowledge. So, or khyati, satkhyati, asatkhyati, etc., etc. That is knowledge. So they speak of knowledge of the things, and separation, viveka, and that's why that is called knowledge is Sankhya. And since they go for this Sankhya knowledge, they are called Sankhya. That is actually the correct and widely accepted meaning of Sankhya. In Gita, at various places, yat Sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate, esha tebhi hita Sankhya buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu, etc., etc. At various places, the word Sankhya is used. Sankhya is given by Kapila, and Kapila is such an acharya who is mentioned even in the Vedas, and he was Sarvagya, or knowing everything, omniscient, right from his birth. That is Kapila. And Kapila is the first philosopher the world knows. There is no philosopher noted, because all the rishis and philosophers are mentioned, supposedly mentioned in Vedas, or later Vedic period, or at the time of Vedas, like even Vyasa or Jaimini and all those acharyas are Vedic time or later post Vedic time, whereas Kapila predates and he is mentioned in the Vedas, and no one before that. So Kapila is the generally in the philosophical systems considered as father of all philosophies. Everybody has taken something or other from him. Everybody has some, what you say, gratitude for him. Indian systems have so much, because whatever he has proposed, more or less, more people have modified and used it. At the outset, he has given such a strong logical system. That was Kapila. Kapila had his disciple Asuri. Then we do not know whether disciple or directly disciple of Asuri must be, whether he was just claiming that I follow Kapila. It's difficult to say. Then someone Panchashikha, he has written one book, Shashti Tantra. Then comes Ishwar Krishna. How do we presently come to know of this Sankhya system is through Ishwar Krishna's book, that is Sankhya Karika. Because Kapila Sutras are lost. Somebody reclaimed them, so to say, in 14th century. But the people say that no, that Pandit himself has conjectured, and that is not actually, there is no proof that these are original Kapil Sutras. So some Kapil Sutras are mentioned in some books here and there, quoted for reference or quoted for to refute or etc. whatever. So that much those people can get, but actually full book is not available. However, Ishwar Krishna has written one book, Sankhya Karika. His time is maybe somewhere BC or AD, little bit somewhere there. Not known, very difficult to know. But the books, the commentaries on his book are quite old, so he generally, Ishwara Krishna, can be placed at 200 BC or AD somewhere. His books are his book is called as Kanaka Sattari or Suvarna Saptati, because there are 70 shlokas, and Suvarna Saptati is collection of pieces of gold or bricks of gold, so to say, very important. And in 70 shlokas, he has not just introduced the system, he has introduced the system with logic. That is his force, very important. And he is very good at placing the things, very difficult things, in few words with proper reason. That is the beauty of it. And his book is translated into Chinese, that is available. Those days, somewhere maybe 5th or 6th century, somebody translated it to Chinese, and it percolated there. Vijnana Bhikshu has written Sankhya Pravachan Bhashya on it, and Bhava Ganesh has written Tattva Sangraha. Sorry, Vijnana Bhikshu has Sankhya Pravachan Bhashya, which is independent, and Tattva Sangraha is also independent. On Sankhya Karika, there is one Mathar Vritti, and there is one Gaudapada Bhashya. Gaudapada, whether he was Guru, the same Guru of Dada Guru of Shankaracharya or some different person, not known. But there is one Gaudapada Bhashya on Sankhya Karika. Then there is one book, Yukti Deepika. To explain and presently to study the Sankhya Karika properly is the book called Tattva Kaumudi, written by Vachaspati Mishra in the 9th century. That is the very good reference book for the study of Sankhya. Some Shankaracharya at 14th century also wrote one Jayamangala, and somebody Narayan Tirtha in the 17th century wrote Chandrika, and some Narasimha Swami wrote Sankhya Taru. These are some of the books, major books on Sankhya. What do they say? Pramana, Prameya. Acharyas, the Acharyas and the books are done. Now we come to the theory part of it. Sankhyas present us that there is one Prakriti and Purusha. theory part of yoga and Sankhya is almost the same. At yoga, Patanjali's yoga system depends for theory on Sankhya. So here more of the theoretical part is dealt. Yoga was more of the practice. Prakriti and Purusha. Now this Prakriti, will come to the details. Purusha somehow has confused himself with the Prakriti. Same problem all over. God knows what that Purusha, very difficult to answer. Every system mentions this. Not a single system fails to tell that Purusha confused himself and considers himself to be this body and that what. That is beginningless confusion. And that is to be resolved. And solutions are provided for that. Now, this Purusha are many. As many Jivas, so many Purushas. No Ishvara necessary for the Sankhya system. There is no other Ishvara, only Purushas. In the Nyaya system, as many Jivas, so many Jivatmas, and one super Atma, super soul, or Paramatma was presented. However, in the Sankhya system, no Paramatma, no Ishvar is accepted or proposed. At least Ishwar Krishna did not accept. Even the name is Ishwar Krishna. He neither accepted Ishwara nor Krishna, but he made the Ishwara Krishna. Like Krishna means black. He blackened the Ishwara. He did not accept, rejected. So that is how his name has connotation, Ishwar Krishna. So, well, there is no Ishvara necessary for Prakriti, for the running of the world. This Purusha is in contact, some relation with the Prakriti, and confuses it himself, as it is stated, considers himself to be this body, that body, etc. We come to Prakriti. There is a something called Khyati in the Darshana. All the Indian Darshanas deal it, Khyati. Sat Khyati, Asat Khyati, Anyatha Khyati, Satkaryavada, etc. also. So we'll take little discussion necessary about this, because this is important, because that has ramifications. Nayayikas say that when you take clay for making a pot, clay doesn't have pot in it. The pot is completely absent, asat, like Vandhyaputra. At the time when you have clay, the pot to be produced is actually asat, like Vandhyaputra, not existent anywhere. And you take that clay and create the pot. Then pot comes to existence. So at the level of karana, cause, the effect is asat, non-existent, completely absent. So this particular theory is called as asat karyavada. The karya, the effect, is asat at the level of karana, asat karyavada. Sankhyas reject this. They say there are various issues with asat karyavada. First thing is, if there is no relation of the karya with the karana, then you take the threads and make the pot. From threads you make cloth, you do not make pot. From clay you do not make cloth, you make pot. So there is something. So naturally you have to accept that the pot is there in the karana, the clay, in subtle form, unmanifest form, avyakta form. But then Nayayika say, if the pot is present in the karana itself, then why do you need water to create the pot? You use the clay and bring water. So there are objections, since because we lack time, so we will not go into the logical discussion of it. This is this thing. Satkaryavada. The Karana has the effect, the cause, the pot, in the unmanifest form in the clay. That is Satkaryavada. That is how the things are produced. Now, the way the world is created, first of all, this Prakriti is to be noted. This Prakriti is, according to Sankhya, there are three gunas: Sattva, Raja, and Tama. Three gunas are there. These gunas are accepted by Vedantins, Sankhyas, and Mimamsakas to some extent here and there, because the Vedic text presents that. So these two systems mostly give much importance. When Sankhya accepts, yogis also accept naturally, because theory of Sankhya is almost accepted by yogis. So yoga also has this Sattva, Raja, Tama. Sattva guna is light. One light is not heavy. That is light. Another light is this light generally. So light, and also giving happiness. Gita has mentioned these gunas are like this. And Rajoguna is having the power to move, chanchal, brings unhappiness, shoka, moha, etc. And Tamoguna is heavy in nature, and it has the power to stop. One has power to move or movement always, another has at rest, power to obstruct and to be at rest. That is Tamoguna. Though they are opposed to each other, somebody wants to take rest, somebody wants to be at movement, etc. They are opposed to each other. However, like a lamp, there is a lamp, there is fuel, there is this, what you say, the piece of cloth or cotton which is necessary for lighting, and the fire itself. These things in themselves are not complementary to each other, but they come together and they help the fire to burn, so we get light. Now actually the fire burns that cotton part and fuel, etc. Even then they are helping it to burn. That's how, though they are opposed to each other, they come together and give us light. Likewise, these gunas, though opposed to each other in some extent here and there, they come together and they create the world. Now this Prakriti is a thing. Prakriti is such a thing where all these three gunas are in themselves. They do not dominate others. Generally, these gunas tend to dominate each other. And when the domination begins, the creation begins. And when they are in themselves, not dominating, so that is called as Samyavastha, equilibrium. At equilibrium, like suppose if this world goes back to the original state after Pralaya, where all the gunas are three gunas. Three gunas are not qualities or attributes. These three gunas are like for a rope, there are three strands. Likewise, these three are the materials. Gunas are not qualities here. These are the materials, very important thing. These gunas are at complete equilibrium in themselves. They do not dominate other gunas. And that particular stage is called as Prakriti. The moment they start dominance here and there, we do not call that particular stage after that a Prakriti. Now, this Prakriti is very important. It is the cause of creation, but Prakriti is not created. Prakriti is called Prakriti. Prakriti itself means, actually, the word itself means cause of others, but it is not cause. It is not cause, but it is cause of others. Prakriti itself means this. The word itself carries this meaning. Now, when there is Prakriti, with the proximity of Purusha, not with the help of Purusha, like iron fillings move with the proximity of magnet. Magnet doesn't do anything as such. It has that much power that iron fillings will have moment. Likewise, when the Purusha is there, now the difficulty is which Purusha will be there, because many are there, not a single Purusha, but even then, with the proximity of Purusha, the Prakriti, which is composed of these three gunas, so to say, it is very difficult to say it is composed, because that will make it mutable, whereas Prakriti is not mutable. It gives rise to a substance called Mahat. It can be translated as intelligence, buddhi. Then from that Mahat comes Ahankara, ego. This Ahankara is of three types: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Ahankara having predominance of Sattva, predominance of Rajoguna, or predominance of Tamoguna. These three types of Ahankaras are there. Out of this Sattvic Ahankara, mind is created, 5 sense organs and 5 motor organs. These 11 elements are created. That is, because we have to count. Sankhyas means they count, so we have to count them well. How do they complete 25? So one mind, 5 sense organs, 5 motor organs, 11. And these are coming out of Sattvic Ahankara. There is nothing produced out of Rajasic Ahankara. However, from the Tamasic Ahankara, 5 Tanmatras, Shabda, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Sparsha. These are 5. 5 Tanmatras are subtle elements, rudimentary elements, basic elements, etc. can be said. Those are produced, and from those 5 Tanmatras, 5 Mahabhutas come into existence. Now, the Vedanta has Panchikarana as a process, whereas these Sankhyas do not have Panchikarana as a process. The Akash Mahabhut, it joins with the Vayu, Akasha Tanmatra joins with Vayu Tanmatra and gives rise to Vayu Mahabhut. Or actually, Shabda Tanmatra joins the, because Shabda is the quality of, Shabda is the Tanmatra which has correlation with Akasha. So for Akasha to come into existence, the Shabda Tanmatra itself is sufficient. No other things necessary. However, in the Vedanta system, for the Akasha Mahabhut to come into existence, all 4 are necessary. But whereas this is not the case with Sankhya. For the Vayu Mahabhuta to come into existence, Akasha Tanmatra and the Sparsha touch Tanmatra, they two come together. Likewise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last one will have all 5, whereas the previous will have 1 minus, and the first one will be in itself. That is how 5 Mahabhutas come into existence. Now, if we start counting, we have to present the count also, because Sankhya means we have to complete the count. The way Sankhya present the topic is Prakriti, which is cause of other things, but it is not caused. It is not created. So that is 1. Then there are intermediary things, Prakriti Vikriti. They are created and they create. Created and they create. Those are 7 in number. And only Vikriti are just created. They do not create anything else. Those are 16 in number. So Prakriti is already stated. This Prakriti Vikriti, as we see, the Mahat, Ahankara, and these 5 Tanmatras from which 5 Mahabhutas are created. These are 7. Mahat, Ahankara, and 5 Tanmatras. These are 7. These are Prakriti Vikriti. They are formed and they form others. 16 are Vikritis, the final evolutes, we can say. Mind, 1 mind, 5 sense organs, 5 motor organs, and 5 Mahabhutas. So these are 16. So that's how the number comes. So 1 Prakriti, 7 Prakriti Vikriti, and 16 Vikriti, and 1 Purusha. Actually, Purusha means it is type. It is not there is only one Purusha, one type. There are numerous or innumerable Purushas, but we consider that to be one category. So likewise, this is one that comes to be 25. So Sankhya's accept these 25 tattvas, and because they count, they are called Sankhya. That is one way of saying. This is how the creation of the world happens. Now, there are some details about this Prakriti Vikriti, but we have no time, so we'll skip it and we'll move to next thing. About the proposition, what do they propose is already stated. The Purusha confuses itself, and by constantly reflecting on the Prakriti, nature of Prakriti, and the Purusha, there dawns a discrimination, Viveka. Generally, discrimination in the world means to look at someone as low. He discriminated against me, sort of. But that is not the connotation here by this word. Here, discriminate means separating good and bad. Or there also it must be separating good and bad, but wrongly separating good and bad. So discrimination here, to focus, know the characteristics and know them separately. This is not this. Don't confuse them. So this power, this discrimination, viveka. The word viveka means correctly knowing and separating. That is viveka. What we call wisdom generally. This is wisdom. Person is wise, so he has power to discriminate, discern what is right and what is wrong. So that is discrimination. Well, so that is called, that particular power when it dawns, that is called as viveka khyati. And when that viveka khyati is there at subtler levels, as per the yoga system, etc., the the Purusha comes to know that it is not as it assumed, and it separates itself. That is, in short, the moksha, and it is once and for all, that is ensured by the systems. So that is also taken into, that also should be noted in that way. Well, so we move to Mimansa now. So Mimansa is actually in the Indian philosophical systems, or whatever religious thought has undergone in India, only two philosophical systems actually directly refer the Vedas, and they toil themselves to interpret Vedas. No other system exerts itself for making meaning out of Veda. They some of the systems just declare that we accept that Vedas are there and we accept the authority of Vedas, etc., etc. However, there is no place where they went for some sentence from the Vedas and then let us try to interpret that sentence and get the meaning. And since Vedas have said this thing, so we accept that thing, even though it may be logical, may not be logical, whatever. They did not do. They outright set themselves on the path of logic, and did not depend entirely on Vedas. At times they went against the Vedas. Many things went against the Vedas in their case. And that's how they are called as Tarkikas. Some are open Tarkikas, some are Prachanna Tarkikas. Tarkika means those who depend on logic. So Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, even Yoga, these are all openly Tarkikas or hidden Tarkikas. These are all open Tarkikas. They do not depend on Vedas. Those are booked under Tarkikas. Vedanta and these two schools which we want to study, Purva Mimansa and Uttar Mimansa, they depend completely for authority on Vedas. This Purva Mimansa and Uttar Mimansa. In Uttar Mimansa, there are 8 divisions, pronounced divisions. There are quite more, but these are 8 are major. Out of them, some are even the hidden Tarkikas, they take recourse to Tarka only. However, they say that it's like at taking admission in some school, however, going to private classes for for studies always, and not studying in the regular school. So declaring that we accept that the Vedas, we accept that what Vedas say, we try to interpret Vedas, but the contents are not matching, or they do not take recourse to that. So these are called as Prachanna Tarkikas. The philosophers have coined such words. Prachanna means pseudo or hidden thought. These two systems, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, they depend on the Vedas. Some time attempt should be made to know what Vedas are, little bit common to the Indian religion as such. By word Veda means knowledge, one meaning. That is not accepted by the Mimamsakas which we want to study. They do not say when Veda means knowledge. Veda means Shabda Rashi, the words together. That is Veda. The Vedas are, what do they propose? We don't go to the details of Vedas, but what do they propose? How exactly to locate the domain of Vedas in the scheme of things? The analysis is, people want happiness, first consideration, and all other things are because somebody wants happiness, so other things are wanted. If somebody doesn't want happiness, he will not desire other things. So happiness is the central point. Second thing, as it was declared in the first session itself, if there is unhappiness, it is to be get rid of. So first is getting the happiness. Happiness is called as ishta. Ishta means the thing desired the most, that is happiness. So ishta. So getting prapti, ishta prapti. And anishta, undesirable, that is unhappiness, sorrow, pain, etc. So that is unhappiness, anishta, and it is one wants to get rid of it. So parihara, ishta prapti, anishta parihara. For doing that, we have all the systems in the world, medical sciences, and if we can divide all the things of the world into two categories: providing for amusement, entertainment, monoranjan, like sports and music and arts and also things are meant for enjoyment, and medical sciences, etc., they come to get rid of, help us to get rid of any disease, sorrow, pain, etc., etc. So some systems are, and others are auxiliary to it, helping them. They are helping us to build auditorium. They are helping us to have all the musical instruments and loudspeaker and all, so that we can have those that enjoyment very well, peacefully. So all other things are auxiliary to all the two major systems. But all these things have come into existence without referring to Vedas. No Vedas necessary. These modern science, etc., do they go to Vedas for finding out computer and this and that? No. Medicines, even modern medicines, whatever, paracetamol, etc., do they go for? No. They depend on two pramanas: direct perception and inference. These two are accepted, and on the basis of that, whatever solutions are, they deal. Like suppose there is a dog, it has some stomach pain, and we know that it goes to somewhere and eats uh, uh, some leaves of some plants here and there, and it solves its problem. It doesn't go to any book or any pandit or any some scholar. So the knowledge which is in a way natural, that comes in the domain of pratyaksha and anumana. Vedas contain themselves not to foray into this particular domain. Vedas are giving us the solution for these two things, Ishta Prapti and Anishta Parihara. And that solution is not a single solution from the domain which is generally known to us. So it gives the, like suppose Swarga, there is heaven, but by direct perception or by inference, we cannot know Swarga. Because Vedas tell us, we come to know. So that is called as Agama Pramana or Alaukika Pramana. These things are, other things of the world are Laukika. Whatever solution, whatever thing which Vedas want to say, that is Alaukika. So Vedas, what Vedas tell us is Ishta Prapti and Anishta Parihar. For that, the solutions which are alaukik in nature, to that particular domain, Vedas have their subject matter. This should be very well noted. They do not enter into Pratyakshana Anuma. So, Sayanacharya, who is very great, only and the great commentator of Vedas available to us, he says, Ishta Prapti Anishta Pariharayoho Alaukikam Upayam Yo Granto Vedayeti Saveda. The book which conveys us the solutions, the alaukik, what you say, how to translate that alaukik, extrasensory, so to say, some such solutions for what? For getting happiness and for getting rid of unhappiness. So that particular knowledge is presented by Vedas. What do the Vedas present to us? For some time, I will present the composite system and then separate them: Veda, Pura Mimansa and Uttara Mimansa. There are Swarga, Pitraloka, Devaloka, etc., other lokas. This body has soul in it, which leaves this body and transmigrates. It takes new bodies. The reason behind taking up new bodies is the karma which we do here has seen effect and unseen effect. The unseen effect is stored somewhere inside, or some god governs it, whatever, whichever way one wants to take. Both views are there. So that effect has the power, that particular residue has the power to take that Jivatma, the soul, from this body to another body. As in the yoga system we were telling, same thing is here, taking to new life. Now, since we want happiness always, and nobody wants unhappiness, so naturally one has to know very clearly what gives me happiness and what brings unhappiness. If I know it, I can be very careful, cautious about my actions, and so that I will not be under this way, or I will not get what is not desired by me. So I should know it. And that is why the things to be done, do these things prescribed, prescription, vidhi, and don't do these things, prohibition. Prescriptions and prohibitions, vidhi and nisheda comes into play. So Vedas are full of prescriptions and prohibitions. Even religion is prescriptions and prohibitions here and there. So when you go for the prescribed acts, you get some such residue in you which will produce happiness in future because you want to be happy. It will take, if your residue, that punya, it should be named as punya, or it can be named as apurva as per the Mimansa system. Punya, apurva, dharma, etc. are the words for it. If it is of very good amount and quality, you can be taken to the higher lokas, spheres of existence, and you will get happiness there. That is the proposition. Now, if somebody feels, I want to go to such loka, I want to go to Swarga, heaven, Pitraloka, Gandharva loka, this loka, that loka, then what acts I should undertake? So that prescription is given in the Veda. And the person who wants to go to some loka on the basis of karma done here, and it is accepted that after going you will enjoy the fruits and then again you will have to come back. Okay, that is accepted. But nonetheless, I want to have a ride in the, what you say, now that SpaceX, etc., they have started ride into beyond the gravity of Earth. Likewise, I want to have it. It will come to an end and I will to come back, but nonetheless, I want to go for it. We go for various tours and some such programs, etc. Yes, we know that we have to come back, but I want to enjoy it. Likewise, somebody may think after death, if there is really some life, and if there are spheres, then I would like to have it, because there may be some sorrowful and there's some maybe really enjoyable, quite possible. And if those are there, somebody tells me, I want to go. Well, so the person who wants to go to some such spheres, for him, the Purva Mimansa is meant. Entire Purva Mimansa, or what is named as Mimansa, is dedicated for this. If you want to enjoy the lokas hereafter, follow us. Now, if somebody wants to stop this particular game of life and death, then there is Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta. Vedanta says, follow us. So these two things, one thing wants to tell us, help us, if you want to continue the transmigratory life, and I can say like merry-go-round. There is merry-go-round. Merry-go-round is such a thing that when you sit into it, you feel happy. Somebody may feel sort of vomiting and some such sensations possible. We will leave those cases out. But those who feel happy, so there is merry-go-round. You are going up and down and you are happy, happy, happy. Happy cycle. So this happy cycle, merry-go-round, if somebody wants to do, he should go to Mimamsakas. And if somebody feels that this is all nonsense, how many times I have done, it's time and again it's happening. I have to always invest and then reap the fruits, invest and reap the fruits, so much of it. And actually that is not my nature, and so many things will come. Then please tell me the solution. So then you have Vedanta school. Please come to us. We will take you from this, take out of the transmigratory existence. So Vedanta deals with stoppage of the cycle of birth and death. And this coming out of that cycle is called moksha, mukti, liberation. So now how Mimamsa presents this thing? We will in short have a little introduction to Mimamsa. Has a book written by Jaimini. He was disciple of Vyasadeva, and his book has 16 chapters, but 12 are generally dealt with and read and etc. So that book is called as Dwadasha Lakshani, or it is also called as Karma Mimamsa, Karma Kanda, Purva Mimamsa, Purva Kanda, so many names. Mimamsa word itself means sincerely spending thought to ascertain the nature of the things. That is Mimamsa. Taking into consideration available logic, sincerely attempting to settle the nature of the things is Mimamsa. Such a big meaning in one word. So that is Mimamsa. So they have gone to Vedas, took the sentences of Vedas, and they sincerely tried to get the meaning out of that. That's why these are Mimamsa. Generally in Mimamsa, what is prescribed, the word, there are so many sentences in Vedas prescribing Swarga Kamo Yajeta. If somebody wants to go Swarga, go for some such sacrifice, etc. So many sentences, there are incongruencies, opposition, this and that, lacunae apparently. So those are to be resolved. So one portion of this Mimamsa is dedicated for that. And another thing is dedicated for giving philosophical support to what they say. So generally when we come to Mimamsa Darshan, we are more interested into the philosophical part and less into the those resolution part. So major considerations of Mimamsa are that there is rebirth, one. Jivas are many. The karma phala, is visible effects and invisible effects to be enjoyed in the later life. The karma, the residue is called as apurva, and that apurva is itself powerful enough to produce its result. No God necessary to give that result. That's why they deny the existence of God. They do not want any God in between. Generally, God is brought into picture for few reasons, like to govern the universe, one, to give us the knowledge of the supreme reality, and etc., etc., like for to tell the Vedas. Third thing is our karma phala, because we have some karma and somebody should guide the phala to be fruitful. So there should be God who guides that. So that is karma phala data Ishvara. That is also definition of Ishvara generally. So Ishvara is necessary for all such functions. However, Mimansa says that we do not want Ishvara, but our books mention Ishvara. People will say because Vedas have Ishvara in it. They say yes, there are words like Vishnu or this and that, but those words, whether they want to say that there is some Vishnu somewhere sitting at some loka or whatever, we do not care. We do not bother ourselves whether there is, if suppose Indra Swaha, is there Indra in some cloud? They say we do not know. We do not bother ourselves. What we know is that there is word Indra. And while giving the oblations, offerings to the fire or wherever, the Vedas say that you should utter a mantra, Indraya Swaha. So we utter that word, our work is done. We do not go into the details whether Indra really is there, whether he is drunkard or he is this or that, we don't bother. So Mimamsakas do not entertain any such position. They are very clear about it. And that's how even Vedas mention Ishvara, but that Ishvara is of the nature of the word in the Vedas, not of the nature of some person, the meaning of the word. That is the major difference. So that's how Mimamsa approaches the Ishvara. Then the next point this is, whatever to be known is from Vedas, only from Vedas and not from anything else. They are in a way sort of fanatics, that whatever we want to know from the Vedas, Vedas only is the source of correct knowledge, and there is no other source of any correct knowledge. So that is the thing about the Vedas. Vedas are apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means even God has not spoken them or God has not composed them. Forget the persons. In every cycle of the creation, the like Agni Mile Purohitam, the first mantra of Agni Sukta, Agni Mile Purohitam, this particular sequence of the letters is same in every cycle of creation. That doesn't undergo any change. Rishis at some elevated level of mind, at some samadhi, etc., super sensory level, they can read those mantras. If even now, if somebody raises his mind to that level, they can get those mantras. And that's how the mantras are eternal in nature, or Vedas are eternal in nature. No God necessary to write the Vedas. That is, and this particular position is called as apaurushaya Veda. According to Mimamsa, this world is true. Though it is created from the Paramanus, etc., etc., it is true. About the creation, they are one with the Nyaya Vaisheshika system, that there are Paramanus, and but Paramanus themselves combine and recombine and create this world. Nyaya system and Vaisheshika system says that Paramanus can't move themselves, so God is necessary to move them. However, here these people say, Mimamsakas say, that the world is in constant flux. There is no position where the Paramanus were free, standing like two armies ready to fight. And now there should be it should be declared that let us fight. So fight begins. So it was not the case that Paramanus were standing at some place and then somebody ordered and now they started creating the world. That is not the case. This world is beginningless, and that's how the Paramanus are in movement, in constant change and flux. And that's why we do not need anybody to guide them. And that's how they deny, on this basis, they deny the necessity of God. Existence of God, they do not deny. They deny the necessity of God. If God exists, and if it is not helpful for us to go to Swarga, etc., why should we bother? A simple thing. There are so many things in the world. If those are not helpful to me and those are do not concern in my goal, Why should I bother my head? Likewise, we do not deny, but we do not need. That is the thing. So, and they accept the Paramanus. These are most general considerations of the Mimamsakas. There are three main schools of Mimamsakas: Kumarila Bhatta, Prabhakar Bhatta, and Murari Mishra. They have major divisions, but we will leave it and we move on to Vedanta. That is necessary, but since Vedanta is the topic which I am studying and practicing for 25 years, so no difficulty for that, but we'll have to cover it in very shortly. So I will present the essence of Vedanta. What Vedanta wants to say is, Brahman is the only reality. It is attributeless, no attribute. Attribute means like color, taste, all such are attributes. No attribute is there. It has a power. Like I can lift 10 kg, 20 kg, etc. I have some power. Now, in that case, should I say that this power is different from me, separate from me, away from me? No, I can't say that. Likewise, that Brahma has that power, and that power is called as Maya. It is not separate, away, that Maya. And as if I want to lift something, I have to use this power. If I want to speak, I want to this power. I want to use this power. So it has facets, so to say. For we will not use the word creation of the world, for projection of the world, because Vedanta doesn't create the world is projected. For that, for projection of the world, the Brahma has this power in play. Now, what is this projection of the world? When we go to dream, we see some world there. Many people, sun, time, things around, everything is created. Now, in the dream, it is difficult to ascertain when that dream began. It is very difficult. There is time frame in the dream itself. And it is not that we have entered into somebody's dream which was already running. As we go to some city or somebody's house or somewhere, it was already there, we entered into it. That doesn't happen with the dream. We cannot say that I entered into somebody else's dream. We create the dream. And in that dream, we have even time. So time is created. What I wanted to tell is time is created. So, but the dream has begun. Inside that dream, there is time frame. There are elements, things, people, sun, moon, whatever. You imagine and it's there. So the creation there doesn't need money or construction party. It needs imagination. So the dream has some world. Now somebody there in the dream thinks, let me test. I have this particular stone. So of what this is made up of? He takes up and he starts studying and spends some 30 years and goes to laboratory and does some analysis, chemical analysis, and some such analysis. Then he may settle that the stone in the dream is created out of paramanus, or electron, proton, neutron, or meson and subatomic particles and God particle, or any particle which has wave and particle nature, and we do not know whether how it behaves, whatever. Or it may say there is prakriti, whatever. There will be many philosophers in the dream telling various theories. How is that created? How actually the world is created in the dream? It is projected. It is not created. That is the projection, imagination, complete pure imagination, kalpana. So the world is kalpana, imagination. But there should be someone who imagines. So now if I sit here and start musing, Okay, now I want to go to, since I'm hungry, I want to go to a hotel or this place or that place. I will eat this, I will enjoy this, something. And I am lost in that particular thought. Till then, I'm in that world. And I have created mental world. Now, is the mental world real? No way. It is imaginary. So the world is imaginary. It is not real. That is the proposition of Vedanta. But in the dream, there are fellows. They feel I am happy, I am unhappy, etc., etc. And what Vedanta wants to tell that is not the case. The dream has not actually come into existence, but they do not listen. That is the highest truth to be conveyed by Vedanta. You see, there is no dream. This is all imagination. Don't worry, nothing happens. But this highest truth people do not grasp. So then they say that no, the dream has vyavaharika satta, practical existence, so to say. Vyavaharika means maybe practical. Maybe. Okay. So empirical existence. It has empirical existence. Okay, okay. This sounds a bit better. So Vedanta provides second theory. Okay, for some souls, we will give empirical existence theory. There is vyavaharika satta to the imaginary world. And till your imagination persists, the world has the existence, empirical existence. Once you come out of that particular imagination and you come to come to know the reality, the world vanishes. It's no more for you. So that is what is to be conveyed. And in that particular empirical existence, vyavaharika satta, if somebody wants to come out of it, the method of thought and practice is presented by Vedanta. Whereas nobody is in the bondage, there is no bondage for the soul, so there is no liberation for the soul. If you say that now I am liberated, that means you were in the bondage. Actually, soul has the Atma, Brahman, and Brahman is the only thing, no many souls there, only one thing, Brahman. So it has neither bondage nor liberation, because both the words are relative. That is the supreme truth. That is not grasped and accepted. So when we go and preach, the soul is in the bondage, we should go for spiritual practices and we should attend for liberation. That is how the books say. But that is not the case. In reality, the supreme thing is this. Now, in the limited context, somebody wants to get liberation, then we present a unified theory of practice. That first of all, read the books of Vedanta. So wherever you want to go, you should know the roadmap, the details, the things necessary on the road. So you should study well. After studying, the first thing you have to do is you do not come to know the reality, whatever the confusion has happened. It is because you have two problems. One is your mind is not pure and your mind is not concentrated. The moment you purify your mind and the moment you concentrate your mind, you can take away the well of ignorance, because there is some ignorance, and that ignorance is causing you to think that the world is real. And to take away that avarana, well, you have to purify your mind and you have to concentrate your mind. How to purify the mind? For purifying the mind, you should know the impurity. If you want to purify water, then you should know what is the impurity, whether it is turbidity or bacteria and viruses or insects, etc. So once that is known, we can apply process and we will take out the impurity. We can again test whether now the water is really sufficiently pure or not. If you do not know impurity, what test can be conducted? So the impurity of the mind is virtue and vice, or the forces which force us to go for transmigratory existence. The things which take us for life after death, one after another, that is called as samsara. The word very samsara means cycle of birth and death. So samsara, this particular samsara, the forces which help the samsara to go on is impurity. And what is that? The residual effect of karma. So you have to wash that. It is of three types: prarabdha, sanchita, and kriyamana. The prarabdha, or the karma, which is the cause of this particular birth and will continue till the death. So don't bother about that, because it has already started giving the fruits and it will nonetheless end with death. So don't bother about prarabdha. Kriyamana is presently you are doing something, and that will again accrue some fruits, which will be again the cause of future actions. So be careful about the present actions, that you should not accrue any such thing which will take it to the next life. Then third thing remains sanchita. It is the accumulated thing of many previous lives that is to be removed. The moment that is removed, you will be beyond this transmigratory existence. How to do that is the solution of Vedanta. How to do that? How to wipe out the hard disk where all the programs or the viruses of automatically rebooting the computer are stored? How to wipe it out? For that, particular samadhi is necessary, that is prescribed. It is similar to yoga, as we said that dagdha bija, or the seeds are boiled, they do not have power. Likewise, the solution is bit different. So mind is to be purified. Purification is to be done by actions, such actions which do not contribute to the accumulation of the effects which cause next birth. So opposite to that, so suppose we donate with the intention that I should get punya, so that punya will take me to higher spheres and good things. So donate, but don't accept the fruits. Those nishkama karma is necessary. Karma is necessary, but nishkama is necessary. So nishkama karma is necessary. That will purify the mind, concentrate the mind. For concentration, actually the concentration is to be done on the nature of the soul itself. But soul, or the atma, jivatma, being abstract in nature, it is very difficult at the beginning to concentrate outright there. So we will give preliminaries for that. So you take some object, external object, and there are various objects and methods prescribed for that, and you keep on concentrating your mind on that. Once you attain the subtle level of concentration, so you have now that particular method of concentration is called as upasana. So nishkam karma is first, then comes upasana for concentration. So two qualities to be acquired: concentration and first purity, and then concentration. It should not be reversed. It is counterproductive. And while doing this, few other things are prescribed: viveka, vairagya, samadhi, shakta, sampatti, etc., etc. All these set of practices will have one particular effect on that person, that he will feel intense desire for liberation. That is called mumuksha. So that when there is intense desire for liberation, he should go for sannyasa, not before that. And when he goes for sannyasa, he will go to some guru, and guru will guide him through further path. In the further path, there are three main steps: Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Hearing the Vedanta, cogitating on the meaning of it. Nididhyasana is thinking really according to it. What is it? Little explanation necessary. Reading of Veda, Vedanta means generally Vedas are speaking of three things: Karma, Upasana, and Brahma. So what exactly Vedas want to say? Karma as primary thing, Upasana as primary thing, or Brahma as primary thing? You should keep on reading or listening to Vedanta, that is Shravana, till you come to know that really Vedas want to say Brahma. These things are auxiliary or in between, whatever. Till then one should continue. But he came to that, yes, actually Vedas want to speak about Brahma. Karma is actually not the prime focus of Vedas. But Vedas say that there is Jiva, there is Brahma, and both are one, not separate. There's some such things are spoken of in the Vedas. But I know I am this fellow. I cannot do my own work sufficiently, not to speak of creation of the world, whereas Ishvara creates the world. How can the Ishvara and Jiva be one? So, though I understand that Vedas speak of these things, but I do not logically feel acceptable that such thing can be. By now he has finished the reading or what we say listening, Sravana. Now he should sit quietly and find out the logic by which what Vedas have said, whether it is correct or not. So when his manana will happen, he will come to the conclusion, yes, what they have said is right. He has to come, because Vedas do not speak wrong things. So Jiva and Ishvara actually one, fine. So that is accepted. I agree to this. Now, when you agree to this, what do you consider yourself to be now? Body. What does the Veda say? Veda says that you are not the body, you are the supreme conscious being. Now shift your focus from assuming yourself to be this body to that I am supreme conscious self. That shifting of really the focus from this to that is nididhyasana. When that nididhyasana deepens, there is savikalpa samadhi, and at the last level there is nirvikalpa samadhi. In the nirvikalpa samadhi, in the savikalpa, what happens? The person who meditates, the meditation itself, and the thing to be meditated. Like if I hold something in my hand, like this specs I am holding, there is hand, the thing held, and holding. Three things are there. Likewise, the person who meditates, the thing on which the meditation is being done, that is Brahman, and the meditation itself. These are the three things. That is in the Savikalpa Samadhi. In the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, only the Brahman remains, the thing meditated upon. The person who meditated and the meditation itself vanish. Only one, Triputi to one. And that's how that will be Nirvikalpa, no other facets into it. At that particular Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the cause of transmigratory existence is burnt. All the doubts are removed. That is how the Upanishads presents Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Chidyante Sarva Samshayaha Shiyante Chasya Karmani Tasmin Drishte Paravare. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi, whatever bondage was there inside, that is cut asunder. Shiyante Asya Karmani, all the karmas which were cause of rebirth are done away. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi Siddhante Sarva Samshaya, or doubts vanish, and karmas are when this particular Nirvikalpa Samadhi comes. And everyone, every Jiva, Manushya, Tri, Purusha, even animals, etc., all have that nature. However, to attain that nature, everybody will have to come to human life. In those lives, that is not, such practices are not possible. Systems do not help. That's why human life is necessary. And not even in the God life, even Swarga, etc., they do not attain, because they are so much in happiness, they do not feel necessary for ending that happiness. So they are busy with happiness. So it is human life which is very useful for that, and no other life of any use there. And in this very life, it is to be attained. That is very important. And once that is done, the person will come to know that this dream is over. This is Vedanta. This Vedanta, Vedanta this is mentioned in the last portions of Vedas and also essence of Vedas, because Vedas speak of Swarga, Karma, Yajna, and going to continuing the merry-go-round. But once the dream is over, merry-go-round also collapses. That's why this is supreme. So this is essence of Vedas. And from these Upanishads, Vyasadeva, Badarayana, he composed 555 sutras. Those are called as Brahma Sutras. And on those Brahma Sutras, there are various commentaries. The prominent one is by Shankaracharya. And there are many later Acharyas. But in Vedanta also, there are 8 Sampradayas, like Shankara, Advaita Vedanta by Shankaracharya, Vishishta Advaita by Ramanujacharya, Dvaita by Madhvacharya, Dvaita Advaita by Nimbarkacharya, Shuddha Advaita by Vallabhacharya, Achintya Veda Ved by Balladeva, Shaiva Vishishta Advaita by Srikantha, and Veera Shaiva Vishishta Advaita by Sripati. These are major 8 divisions. 1 or 2 comments more. The Hindus today are all Vedantins. There is no Hindu sect which speaks of going to Swarga. The Mimamsakas have vanished, so to say. I do not find any Mimamsaka as such. The difficulty is no scholars available now. Forget people practicing, scholars also not available. That is the difficulty, Mimamsakas. But before Buddha, there were only Mimamsakas, or 99% Mimamsakas. So Hinduism was filled with Mimamsakas. The people said to go to heaven. Later on, Bhagavan Buddha gave a big blow. Their cart was toppled. But later on, the spiritualists like Shankaracharya and all took over. And then they are trying to regain the ground. So all the mathas, ashramas, sannyasis, babajis, dasa, Swami, all these are all spiritualists, and they are Vedantins somewhere or other. Whether they all of them know it properly or not, I do not know. But they are all. This is spirituality. This can be called as Adhyatma. Whereas the continuation of this transmigratory existence is called generally Dharma. And Jaimini wrote first sutra, Athato Dharma Jigyasa. His first sutra is Dharma Jigyasa. So what he is doing is analyzing the dharma, the ways and means, etc., for transmigratory existence, the merry-go-round. Opposed to it, Vyasadeva wrote Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So we have 2 sentences, Athato Dharma Jigyasa and Athato Brahma Jigyasa. These are the 2 major flows in Hindu system. But this Dharma Jigyasa was predominant at some time, what we call ancient Hinduism. Now that is almost not there. And now this Uttara Mimamsa or Brahma Jigyasa has taken over. And all the ashramas and mathas, etc., go after this Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta, knowingly or unknowingly. And all the pravachanas, Bhagavad pravachana, etc., whatever is happening, it is all Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta. No Purva Mimamsa there. But people do not know. So we find people doing punya. I am Vedanti, but I am doing punya. So that is counterproductive. That is confusion. But all right, the confusion remains. What can be done? So this is in short Vedanta, and I am thankful for first of all Ashutosh Singh Thakur, who probably told Deepika ji my name, that you may invite Swamiji. And I'm also thankful to Deepika ji for bearing calling and bearing up. So I'm very much thankful to you, and also the university which arranged all such things, allowed me to present the topic, and all the people who listened very carefully, minutely. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. The sessions have been wonderful and very informative. And if we have time, if the participants do have any questions, they may ask. Swamiji, you mentioned the 2 cycles, the Athato Dharma Jigyasa and Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So, shouldn't they be complementary? Like, if one is not aware of dharma or this marigold cycle, if they're not conscious of it, how do they even want to get out of it, this cycle? or to break it off. Isn't that knowledge necessary?
uh, uh, the complementary or contradictory, the thing is, one who wants to come out of the merry-go-round, he has to stop it. If it goes on, he cannot come out. The forces which are causes of rebirth are not helpful in that form to stop rebirth. So the forces are opposite. That's why in the Upanishads itself, Duramete, Viparite, Vishuchi, etc. is said. So these are 180-degree opposite. The train which, I'm in Bhopal, the train which goes to Chennai cannot take me to Delhi in the same run. Those are diametrically opposite.
That's all. Okay, there is one question. What is the difference between Maya and Avidya? Are they the same?
Yeah, I did not mention avidya, but however, the thing is, there is a woman in a house. For her husband, she is wife, and for her son, she is mother. Husband says, "This is my wife," and son says, "She is my mother." Now, wife and mother, two are the words. Is the person different? No, person is the same. The connotation is different. Two names and two connotations. Likewise, the thing itself is same, but Maya means some connotation is there in that, and when we say avidya, connotation differs, but Maya and avidya are not two separate entities, one and the same. So Maya is from Ishwar side, as it doesn't affect the Ishwara. So for Ishwara it is Maya. Like for the son, mother, it doesn't affect him or adversely affect. Likewise, if she affects someone, then he will call avidya and son will call Maya, because she doesn't affect the son, sort of. Likewise, for Ishvara it is Maya, for Jiva it is avidya. From Jiva side, the same thing referred as, because for the Jiva it is ignorance and all such things coming into play. That's why she is avidya. That thing is avidya. For Ishvara, is not affected by that particular thing. So it is Maya from the side of Ishvara.
So you mentioned about the difference between Mimanskar and Vedic people, right? So isn't you told that Mimanskara wouldn't bother about whether there is a god or not? But isn't it like that we are eating something and we don't know whether the ingredients are harmful for us or these are beneficial for us?
The thing is, like, suppose what do they propose? Their system proposes you, since Vedas prescribed, do this yagya, sacrifice. So arrange the things. Vedas are clearly telling the things, arrange. Now, while performing the sacrifice itself, utter this mantra and give the offerings. So utter the mantra and give the offering. Now, when you utter that mantra, you need not think of the God, some such being behind. You don't have to think that I am giving this offering to Indra sitting somewhere. You just have to utter the mantra, and to conduct the entire yagya or the sacrifice with without leaving anything behind, you don't need any thought of God, real being as such there or anywhere. So your proceedings are not halted or affected by that. So how does it matter? What you said, that when you are eating you should know, etc. But here in eating, if somebody doesn't know the names of the things, someone who has provided may be knowing, so long as it is palatable, all right. But even then, the thing is not coming near, the example is not coming near to what the Mimamsakas say. If knowing the Ishvara or accepting the Ishvara affects their performance, because after performing the yagya, the residual effect created out of that is called apurva, and that apurva is powerful enough to give its effect or take the jiva to the sphere which is for which it is intended or powerful. So for happening of all these things, no Ishvara is to be assumed. So nothing stops by not accepting Ishvara. Now somebody may say that no, karma is dead, how can it take the jiva to other spheres, etc., etc. Apurva is there. These are the objections. How can Apurva be so powerful? There needs to be karma phala data Ishvara, with the God who gives the phala of karma, etc. And your Apurva is a dead thing, it cannot produce the effects. But even then, even if you accept God or doesn't accept God, the results are happening. So why worry? If praying to the God by knowing its nature is helpful, then they will bother. But this praying, etc., are later things. These are added by later people, Puranas and all. Vedas do not need all such things. Only utter the correct mantra, right in pronunciation, in intonations, and etc. Correct performance. That's why we see the karma kandis being very accurate about their performance nitty-gritties. So that's how they were like that. When it comes to bhakti, people, okay, there is God, he will take care of, so I can relax. Some relaxation comes in, but that doesn't happen with the karma kandis. They are very meticulous in their thing. Yes.
I think we'll wrap up the course for now. Thank you, Swamiji. And thank you all for joining.